Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll discuss about acid, base and salts. This is the chapter from class 10. So what is called acid? Acid basically derived from the Latin word which means sour, right? Which means sour. Since they are associated with the sour taste of fruit, we know there are different fruits which contains different acids, right? So metallic oxide and their hydroxide makes up a group called base. Okay, now if you see the simple definition of acid, an acid is a compound which when dissolves in water yield hydronium ion. What is called hydronium ion? That is H3O plus, right? If it is acid, let's say hydrochloric acid, HCl, if it dissolves in water it will release H3O plus, right? HCl, if it is ionizing, it will give H plus and Cl minus. Now this H plus, if it is react with water, then it will form that hydronium ion H3O plus. Okay, so then what is called base? This is the simple definition of acid which gives hydronium ion when it dissolves in water. Now base is the compound which react with hydronium ion of an acid to give salt and water. Let's say metal oxide, metal oxide which is basically basic in nature. Metal oxide such as copper oxide, CuO, if it reacts with HCl, hydrochloric acid, then what will happen? It will give salt and water, CuCl2 plus water. Okay, then what is called alkali? An alkali is a compound which when dissolves in water yields hydroxyl ion, right? OH minus ion, OH minus ion, then it is called alkali. Okay, then what is the difference between alkali and base? Basically alkali is a type of base which dissolves in water, right? Alkali is the base which dissolves in water. Now here there is a very important question comes in exam every year. The thing is that then all alkalis are bases, but all bases are not alkali, right? So you can write this statement: all alkalis are base, but all bases are not alkalis. Okay, so the example of alkalis, it will be alkali KOH, NaOH, sodium hydroxide. Okay, so it dissolves in water. Now we'll see the other definition on the basis of source of acid or on the basis of strength and all these things. We'll find the definition of acid and bases. First is that on the basis of source of acid, one is that organic acid, right? Organic acids. So what is organic acid? Organic acids derived from the plants, that is citric acid which we get from lemon, oxalic acid, tartaric acid, acetic acid, right? Acetic acid is a vinegar. Okay, so the example it will be acetic acid, CH3COOH. This is the formula of acetic acid. Now what is called inorganic acid then? Organic acid, the acids which we get from plants, right? Inorganic acid which derived from minerals, that is called inorganic acid. So what is the example of inorganic acid? Those very famous acid, three acid, right? HCl, H2SO4 and HNO3, hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid and nitric acid. right? So this is the basis of their source, right? From where we are getting the acid, either from plants or from minerals, right? Now we are going to know on the basis of molecular composition of acid, right? First is that hydrocid, oxyacid. So what is hydrocid? Hydrocid, this is a type of acid which containing hydrogen and non-metallic element other than oxygen, right? So this is basically HCl, HBr, HI. These are the hydrocid. Okay. Now what is called oxyacid? Oxyacid, acid containing hydrogen, another element of oxygen, that is HNO3, H2SO4. Those are called oxyacids. Okay, oxyacid example is HNO3, H2SO4. These are the things. Now we'll see this we are telling that this hydrocid, oxyacid, inorganic acid, organic acid. Now we'll find that which one is stronger, which one is weaker. How we'll classify them, right? That will be classified through their strength, right? Strength of an acid. So depends on the concentration of the hydronium ion H3O plus, we can classify them strong acid or weak acid. So first we will discuss about the strong acid. Strong acid, what is strong acid? This is the acid which dissociates almost completely, right? Dissociates completely. Right, strong acid example is that those three acid HNO3, H2SO4 and HCl. Those are strong acid. HNO3 plus H2, and we already know that these acids it will dissolve in water to give H3O plus, right? Hydronium ion. So H3O plus plus NO3 minus. This dissociates completely. That's why it named as strong acid. If you see for H2SO4 also, if it is dissolves in water, then what will happen? It will form H3O plus plus SO4 2 minus, right? Now this is strong acid. Then what is called weak acid, which partially dissociate, right? Partially dissociates. So the example of these things are this organic acid. Those are partially dissociate, like CH3COOH, which is vinegar. So what it will form after dissociating? CH3COO minus plus H plus. Okay, so this contains molecule and ion, right? This weak acid contains molecules and ion, and molecules and ions. But strong acid, those contains only ions, right? These things we have to remember, that strong acid contains only ion. If you see strong acid such as HNO3, so it after dissolving in water, what it is forming? Hydronium ion and that anion, which is NO3 minus. In case of H2SO4 also, if it is dissolving in water, it is forming H3O plus along with SO4 2 minus. So here cation and anion, so these contains only ions. But if you see weak acid, which is basically the organic acids only, they contain molecules and ion. If you see CH3COO minus, right, along with H plus. So yeah, here ion also there, here molecules also there. Okay. Other example of weak acids are carbonic acid, formic acid. Those are the weak acid. Now we have discussed so many things about acid. What about alkali, right? Alkali also can be divided into strong alkali and weak alkali. Similarly, here if you see strong alkali, which dissociates completely, right? The example of strong alkali is sodium hydroxide. If it is ionized, it will form Na plus and OH minus. And we already know that alkalis are the type of base which dissolves in water right? And they will release OH minus. Here we are saying that NaOH, which after dissolving in water, it is giving Na plus and OH minus. Other example of strong alkalis are KOH, potassium hydroxide, which release K plus and OH minus. Okay, lithium hydroxide, that also will be strong alkalis. Now this contains only ions. Similarly, like strong acid, this contains only ions. Okay, now we'll see about weak alkali. Weak alkali, like our weak acid, it partially dissociate, right? The example of this is NH4OH. Okay, NH4OH, what it is giving? NH4 plus plus OH minus. Okay, so this contains molecules and ions. Okay, now we understood strong alkali, weak alkali, strong acid and weak acid. Now we'll see on the basis of concentration of acid and bases, right? Which is first one is that called concentrated acid. Concentrated acid means it is having high percentage of acid, that is called concentrated acid, right? Concentrated acid, concentrated acid and dilute acid. Dilute acid will have less percentage of these things, acid, right? Let's say if I am telling 1 molar HCl, 1 molar, or I can tell about 10 molar also, 10 molar HCl, and if I am talking about let's say 0.5 molar HCl, right? So here what I am basically mentioning is that 10 molar and 0.5 molar HCl is that 10 molar means 10 mole per liter of HCl it is there, so it is concentrated acid, right? This is concentrated acid. And 0.5 molar means this is 0.5 mole of HCl dissolves in 1 liter of water, right? So this will be dilute. Similarly, we can divide these alkalis also among concentrated alkali and dilute alkali. Okay, concentrated alkali is the alkali having relative high percentage of alkali, and dilute alkali will have low percentage of alkali. Okay, so these are the things. Now we'll see these things. This is very important thing. This basicity and acidity, basicity of acid and acidity of base. So what is called basicity of acid? The number of hydrogen ion which can be produced per molecule of an acid in aqueous solution. Okay, so that is called basicity of an acid. Basicity, it's basically the number, like how many H plus it is producing. Basicity of acids. In simple language, we can say how many H plus it is releasing, right? In aqueous solution. Okay, now if you see for HCl, if you see, if it is in aqueous solution, it is going to give you H3O plus Cl minus, right? So HCl is releasing 1 H plus, which is reacting with water to give you H3O plus. So that means this is monobasic. Okay, now if we consider about H2SO4, H2SO4, if it is reacting with water, okay, so first it will release this H3O plus HSO4 minus. Now this HSO4 minus, again it can react with another molecule of water, and it can release another H3O plus SO4 2 minus, right? So ultimately how many H plus H2SO4 is releasing? That is 2, right? Or we can say it is releasing 2 H3O plus in aqueous solution. Okay, so H2SO4 plus 2 H2O, it is giving you 2 H3O plus SO4 2 minus. Now we can understand the basicity of H2SO4 is 2. So we can say that the H2SO4 is a dibasic acid, right? Okay, then is there any possibility to become tribasic acid? The answer is yes. There are examples like H3PO4. H3PO4, how it will ionize? It will first react with one water molecule, okay, to give you as usual 1 H3O plus H2PO4 minus. Now this H2PO4, if you notice here, still there are two other H2 molecule which can it can release that another 2 H plus, right? So H2PO4 minus, again it can react with another water, it will give you H3O plus HPO4 2 minus. So in every step you can see that 1 H plus it is releasing, right? Okay, now still another hydrogen is remaining, so that HPO4 2 minus, now it can react with another molecule of water to give you H3O plus and PO4 3 minus, right? So the final equation, it will be H3PO4 reacting with 3H2O, it is giving 3H3O plus PO4 3 minus, right? So the basicity of H3PO4 is 3, and this is tribasic acid. So we understood that monobasic acid, dibasic acid and tribasic acid. In the next class we will discuss about the acidity of base, right? There also will have this monoacidic base, diacidic base, triacidic base, and very important thing, in the next class we are going to discuss about these indicators, right? What is the indicator and what is the color changes we will get in acid or base, and also the pH, right? pH of acid, base and pH of neutral solution, how we will determine the pH. Those things we will discuss in the next class. If you have doubt from today's class, you please write in the comment, okay? And do not forget to subscribe this channel. We will discuss almost all the chemistry chapter from class 10, and if you find any difficulties in other chapter also, you can mention here in the comment. So I'll try to cover up those things in the other classes. Thank you so much. Please like if you like the class, and don't forget to subscribe the channel. Thank you so much.